this is too easy of a team fight for WE. They have so many answers to basically 5 bruisers. Lilia works great against these bruisers. She can just kite them out, walk around them. Gangplank makes it super hard to engage. You have to walk through barrel storms. And once you get there, there's an Alistar WQ combo and a Samira Inferno trigger waiting for you. This is, once again, I feel like WE had a lot of foresight in what LGD was going to do, and whether they did it intentionally or not, the end result is this is extremely difficult for LGD to even get close to WE's comp.
Yeah, we talk about this sometimes, and you know, compositions don't always mean everything, but execution
in levels, her abilities are not going to do that much damage, and she's just going to be irrelevant. So I think LGD are putting out this game plan where it's super easy to read, and if it breaks at one portion, the entire thing basically falls apart. You're not going to have that silent split push pressure. You're not going to be able to get to objectives first. And if there's ever a case where you have to walk into WE when they're already set up, you're just going to lose the team fight. So incredibly difficult execution. Everything is basically in that bot lane basket for LGD, and I fully expect WE, with everything we've seen with their level 1s, that they're going to be able to just poke their faces in, read out the jungle pathing, and dismantle anything that Quay can throw at them.
Well, we are on the rift for the third and potentially final time this evening. Final spot in that semi-finals up for grabs. Team WE on match point, with waiting for them to see if they are able to go up against Team JDG. I said Team JDG because Team WE, but JDG in that semi-final tomorrow evening or morning or night. It depends on where in the world you are. This is a multi-continental broadcast, so we're going from Canada to Europe to Taipei. There's so many different places around the world that we are broadcasting from, and different levels of tiredness across the board, I feel.
Oh, and W still get the warning in. This is pretty unfortunate. I like the adaptation for LGD. At least this time they did do a 3-man stack and hopefully catch out someone that W was going to send in. However, WE, they actually throw a curveball. You know, they wait a little bit later. They still have the Raptor camp up, so they definitely know when this Olaf is going to be heading towards the bot lane. And there could be some really fun mind games here.
Speaking of mind games, Garvey being jumped on, exhaust bounced down on both of the AD carries, but Garvey's the one that has to flash away. So they end up burning roughly the same amount of summoners, but overall it's Jiumeng and Missing who come out on top.
Super interesting that we're seeing a lot of snowball runes coming out from WE, Missing going for the phase rush, and of course the Dark Harvest incoming from beishang. So these are not typically the runes that we see. Aftershock and of course phase rush I think would be more appropriate given these compositions. But W have been dominant in the first 2 games, and this time around they're looking to capitalize on a game state that might be in their favor.
Yeah, honestly, I'm actually a big fan of the kind of, you know, adaptation and say, look, we know that we can really make this work.
Don't walk through. Oh,
you walked through. Don't they have full vision of them now. But I actually quite like this adaptation because it shows like kind of a limit testing of like, look, we know we're going to have the early advantage. We know that this is where we're going to be able to try and get potentially some early kills, some even, you know, snowball, like you said. And that to me just kind of screams confidence into this bot side of like, you know, we know that we're going to be the ones that are going to be dictating the pace. As I say that, though, Colt's able to get a decent chunk of damage there onto Breathe, who is sitting on his corrupting potion. It's a very close one. Flash in. Does he have the damage? Not quite. He just about got his pot up off the cooldown. Able to drop that one there. Gets the instant extra bit of HP. No flash now for the Renekton in the top side.
And that actually ends up being a win for Breathe. Very well done there. You know, no sweaty palms whatsoever. Keeps his flash, his summoners alive, and is able to just teleport back to lane.
Yep, Jiumeng very, very safe on this Samira. You've got plenty of mobility, even if you do get hit by that first undertow, but I like this from the side of LGD, just trying to give Garvey as much breathing room as possible to be able to push in that wave, get a reset in, but they jump straight back on top of them just to make sure that they don't get too cocky in this bot side, and remember that they are very much in the against the head in terms of range versus melee.
Yeah, that was very good from beishang, who was hovering the lane basically, made sure that the Olaf gank was never going to succeed. They did catch vision of Olaf onto the Raptors. Even though Quay avoided his own Raptors, he still stepped inside vision. So that plan really didn't work out for him. He actually had a pretty non-optimized route as well, and beishang is able to walk away with the double scuttle start, and that's just a massive win.
Yeah, the pressure, and we talked about this in game 2, the pressure points you're able to give because they were able to get the early pressure in that bot lane at level 1, level 2. It meant that they were able to have to kind of, you know, push in that wave, and then for Garvey to have any kind of a hope in that lane, it meant that, you know, Quay had to come down, had to make sure that that wave was pushed in, which just gave full reign to beishang. It's literally like kind of a domino effect, really, when you talk about pressure. It's kind of, what did this lead to, what did that lead to, and what is the end result of this? It might not look like it in the immediate future, but down the line, these small little advantages, they add up.
They definitely do. Everyone knew that the Olaf was pathing towards the bot lane. W has the early ward in, spots it out. beishang takes the farm route, matches the Olaf, and also takes up the double scuttle. So he's going to have a level lead already coming into the jungle. The mid lane got the counter pick, so pushing in super far. It's probably going to be a Drake on the menu right here. And LGD still not able to get this double melee cheese online.
A double melee cheese definitely not been working out in game 1. Definitely didn't work out in game 1. Not really seeing a huge amount of positives in game 3, but still very, very early days. We're not even 6 minutes in. And actually, as I said that, we actually see Breed taking a little bit of a deficit up in that top side here. 10 CS is the Renekton really starting to kind of bully out this Jax because he has to try and use the counter-strike properly. And Garvey, buddy, what are you doing here? What? That was overkill from Shanks, but why would he go in on that? That just seems like such an unnecessary risk.
Yeah, that was probably miscommunication. He thought it was support was a lot closer than I don't know. That was just a weird one. He basically just face planted 2v1. We're not going to talk much about that. It's just a weird play whatsoever. But WE do get what they wanted from the start here. They were most likely going to take that Drake regardless of the situation. But now they have a little bit more leeway, and we're going to see the Samira finish her Immortal Bowl a little bit faster, which is a huge spike in the game. It becomes much more difficult to take her down with that shield on her. Again,
LGD, small positive. Just as we start talking about the positives of top lane, and just as we're like, look, they're kind of getting themselves somewhere, really kind of finding themselves a foot in this game, someone on the team just decides they don't really feel like that's appropriate. They need to be the underdogs, need to be playing from behind at all times as practice, I guess, and they just kind of lose that little bit of an advantage. So now bot lane is very much ahead and very much going to be feeling a lot stronger coming into these, you know, kind of mid-game team fights when the first mythic items get finished up.
And this is such interesting item builds coming out from Jiumeng. He's actually going directly into the previous Ninja Tabbies, the steel-plated caps right now, and making sure that he's never going to die to this Irelia. He's just saying that, hey, you're mostly auto attacks. I'm gonna make sure I stay alive the entire time and take away your snowball point. Personally, I still would have preferred the Immortal Shield Bowl given their position on the map right now, but it's definitely something that's worth pointing out.
Again, LGD. I said that very, I said that very monotone and kind of almost drawl, but LGD just trying to eke out any kind of advantage they possibly can. There is the Dominus pop. Colt needs to be very careful. Flash in, flash out. Breed just takes up a straight 1v1 even without his turret, and now the advantages that he just secured for himself on that top side for LGD, they're gone.
And that was one where Colt was basically asking for it himself, you know. He was going in, pops the Dominus first, tries to get the superior trade. And we do have to remember that most of the times the Renekton is considered a counterpick to the Jax. It's very hard to beat a Renekton during the laning phase, and you know, we've all seen Bin do it at Worlds, but that's an outlier. You know, that's not usually how the matchup does work out here.
And again, we were talking a little bit in the break. We were saying it to ourselves, and you know, kind of like we were talking about the Galio Syndra matchup and you know, certain counter matchups of what works, what doesn't. But it can sometimes feel like the better players will just make a matchup work. and they'll get away with it because that's just how good of a player they are. Versus, you know, maybe not so good players, people who are kind of like relying on those role-playing kind of setups, they just can't make those styles work for them, regardless of kind of, you know, how favorable or unfavorable it is. It feels like, you know, Breath is one of those players that he can just make something work for him if he gets the opportunity.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way, and that's why WE has picked him up, you know, saved him from OMG, as OMG is going for a completely new roster at this point. And I would actually really love to see a replay. There's a lot of details that go into these trades like that, and at the point where Colt was behind Breathe's tower, I don't think Breathe actually had the item advantage right there, so it was just a straight-up outskill.
Well, Rift Herald is going to go down in favor of LGD. They will be able to pick this one up as well. Definitely doing better than in the last game where they took it and weren't able to do anything with it. But they now back themselves up. Olaf is towards this top side, trying to just bully out this Jax as much as possible with that Rift Herald as well, trying to get Colt as far ahead as he possibly can before this Jax really starts to be able to split push later on into this game.
We do have to see all of the W members are funneling in, Missing and beishang on the sides, so I think Breathe is relatively safe here. It's just a question of who's going to start the fight in. How is it going to go down? Looks like the tower will still be standing. And, you know, LG could decide to hard force this, and that does seem to be the line that they're going for.
The Akali has to use the Shroud very, very early. Perfect execution. Ooh, not needed just yet.
What?
Just goes in, but on the top side, it ends up being a 3v1 that ends up being a 1-for-1. Would love to see a replay of what happened there. And again, Breathe is just getting those advantages. We talked about it. 1v3 still comes out 1-for-1, and his tower was dead anyway, so it works out.
Oh, how many times is Breathe gonna do this throughout the series? He outplays a 4v1 in, I believe, game 2, and then still gets the 1v3 trade-off? That's disgusting. What?
He can't keep getting away with this.
Oh my god.
It's just...
Oh, you know, we had a lot of expectations for Colt, but it does look like Curse is just the more experienced top laner. We had him in our top 5 of best LPL top laners, and he's definitely showing his stuff right now.
Oh, the Zenith Blade does connect, but the solo player did miss. The TP in immediately, and unfortunately for you, Peace, you are in no man's land as Breathe comes in, just dissuading the rest of LGD from getting anywhere close to this fight, well, which was more of a pick-off than a fight, and they have got the dragon procced. Garvey is hovering around and seeing if he can make a nuisance of himself, but I think it would be very, very difficult for him to be able to steal this one off. Just going to try and be cheeky about it. Honestly, went down to 12 HP, so if he had waited a little longer, might have been able to sneak it out. But overall, it's now 2 dragons in favor of the side of Team WE as Garvey now walks himself into the trample, into a headbutt. They're going to try and use Jiumeng Samira. The ignite goes down. There is the flawless duet and the flash, so Garvey should be able to get himself out. As I say that, though, Shanks says, nah, buddy, you ain't getting away from me. The exhaust has to be used. Great auto attack just to stop the barrel, but there's only so much he can do. He will eventually go down. Shanks picks up that kill. A lot invested from Team WE to pick up that one pick off, but in the end, they don't really care. They're just making sure Jiumeng has a free lane.
Yeah, it's just about sending a message at this point. Missing does have to burn his flash to get out of that one. And I was watching that play quite closely. I don't think the phase rush actually got him an extra hit right there. I'm not sure about phase rush Alistar whatsoever. It doesn't look particularly potent.
Yeah, well, you know, this is a perfect opportunity for the side of Team WE to test it in a competitive environment, and they are definitely taking advantage of that, full advantage of that, as we have a quick look.
Do you remember there used to be a game where FPX, because they were winning so hard in 2019, all of them took Gathering Storm. Every single one of them. It's like, we have to test this rune out. It looks incredible. And actually was.
But we don't know. Yeah,
it's one of those games,
it was the meta game as such as... Oh dear, the Akali is in a little bit of trouble. Has to use the perfect execution and the flash just to get out, but barely. And that does mean more of a free lane for Shanks for this Gangplank. And again, more and more pressure, more and more tempo going in favor of Team WE. They're on target for another 22, 23 minute Dragon Soul if they so desire it. And it's just kind of going to get worse the longer this game goes on. Yes, you've double Gore Drinker on the Renekton and the Olaf right now, but you need to try making plays with that. Otherwise, those items aren't going to do much for you.
It definitely is a case here. I think the same problems still apply to the first time they did the cheese. And I actually really wanted to see LGD go for the Wombo combo comp. If you can't beat them, why not just join them? It's pretty easy to execute. And I just want to talk about that because it is kind of what we're seeing mainly in the meta. A lot of teams are going for it, and there frankly are a lot of combo pieces. If you don't want to play the Galio variant of it, you know, you have Sion, you have Ornn, you have Orianna, we even seen Jarvan coming in from JDG just to finish off that sort of a composition. It really is kind of the meta answer that everyone is playing, and especially top esports. I love the way Warhorse was doing it because he was hard forcing his team just to play that sort of a composition where you're going in and you're blowing up the enemy team. And I'm surprised that LGD isn't trying to go for that.
Oh, missing. Very nicely done, but there is the Inferno trigger on top of Garvey. He does land the Vanguard's edge, though. They're taking a very long time to try and kill off anybody here on the side of Team WE. They will eventually take down Jiumeng, but it took 4 people missing. They're trying to run away as fast as he possibly can. Should be able to try and turn this one around if they go a bit too far, but LGD realize they can't really gain anything else from it. They burn a hell of a lot just to get 1 kill. They don't get the turret, and Jax is free reign on the top side, so I'm still thinking win for Team WE.
Yeah, definitely a win for them. Jiumeng is, you know, he's definitely getting that VIP treatment right here. Everyone trying to take him down.
Uh-oh, that is an unfortunate timing there. They will trade 1 for 1, but Shanks is under turret. Cult is very, very powerful, though, with this Gore Drinker. The Lilia is here. He has the minion wave, but he doesn't really have anywhere else to go. And all the while, he's getting those cooldowns back for those parlays just to be able to keep sustained. And there is enough damage on the Shanks to be able to kill him off. Breathe just backing himself away in that top side, but overall ends up, again, kind of going in favor of Team WE.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about when I saw the Gangplank and LGD picking full melee into GP. It's just impossible to walk up. The barrel chain is way too easy for the GP to do. And right now we do see the Divine Sunder, which is the kind of go-to. It has really taken its priority over the Triforce build that we've seen. Just the components in laning phase feel so good. You have a lot more HP with this side of things. You get the Phage over the Hearthbound Axe in the component. So we have been seeing a lot of Grasp GPs just favor this build overall. And you do get the extra procs from the barrels as well, so fits with the build very nicely. Great against multi-melee comps, and we just saw it in action there.
Big first items coming in here for the side of Team WE. As you can see, plated steel caps pretty much across the board as Missing jumps straight on top of 2 members of LGD. Going to be able to back away. Not real kind of any sustained damage. Actually, probably Missing taking the more unfavorable trade as Breed just dodges himself out from the flawless duet. And now Team WE maybe just feeling it again because they got the cooldowns. They're going to burn the Ragnarok off as Breed is 3v1 on the backside of this. It's a fight on 2 fronts. They all jumping on back on top of him. He almost trades it though. And ends up being a 1 for 1, and never mind, that's going to be a 1 for 2 in favor of Team WE as they now look to maybe try and force down this mid lane turret. They have got priority over the dragon. They're going to lead the mid lane back down towards the dragon, start stacking them back on the soul point.
W player is just having a little bit of fun there. Breathe going for the limit testing, focusing all his damage on the Leona, which definitely wasn't optimal, but would have looked cool if he found the trade right there. Good cutoff for him. That only leaves 2 members underneath the tower. W are able to pick that up, and again, they're running away with the objectives. We're going to see another 23-minute Dragon Soul upcoming, and unfortunately, I think we're going to see this pretty much the same conclusion from Game 1 and Game 2.
Yep, I believe so. But let's have a look at this one here. As you can see how it started. Missing had already used his combo, and then they just waited until he had it back.
Pretty much, you know, they were in no rush to finish this one off. Breathe, honestly, just going full ham on the other side, making sure that his team had to only a 4v2 to deal with on the mid lane tower. And good find by LGD here. At least they do walk away with the Herald. And hopefully they can do a fork of some sort. Maybe find a pick onto Jiumeng. He still doesn't have his flash up. We'll see, but it's, you know, slim chances across the board.
I feel like we're feeling a bit dejected right now talking about LGD, so let's talk about the positives about WE. As you know, they inch closer and closer towards.
Quick blade.
Yeah,
I love that build. It's so fun. This is a build that Gimgoon was doing a lot in solo queue. He was actually going for the full infinity build with everything, and it looks really troll because you're Grasp of the Undying and you're going in on targets a lot of the time. Unfortunately, Cult is going to meet his demise right here. Nothing much you can do about it.
Oh, but there might be something they can do in this mid lane. Yeah, there's going to be the Jiumeng falling down, and they have got the Vanguard's edge onto Shanks as well, so he's not really able to trade this one back, but Garvey just steps too close to the sun. Missing is here, as is beishang. They do land themselves the Swirl Seed. Seeing if they can get any more kind of damage. Just poking and prodding with that Liandry's Anguish. They haven't even decided to bring up Breathe as of yet. They're just saying keep split pushing, keep taking what you can. But that ends up being a 1-for-2 trade overall in favor of the side of LGD. So, you know, or maybe 2-for-2 as the Renekton did go down to the bot side. But let's see how this one started. Actually, Jiumeng who starts it off.
Yep, Jiumeng playing pretty loose right here. There's 3 members on the bottom side from his team, so easy go-ahead from LGD. He pops the ultimate, but there is an Ignite ticking on him, so doesn't get much out of the Immortal Shield Bowl. Falls down, but there is the highlight. Shanks outplaying Garvey. Garvey just saying, man, give me a break. I'm not an AD carry. Just come on, give me a kill, please.
Yeah, Garvey not having the best of times right now, but tell you who is having a great time right now. It is Shanks, 4-0-4. He is an error code on the side of Team WE for LGD. And as he said, he's going for that very, very, very powerful, pretty much full crit build as you build towards the IE, as almost certainly is his next item, as he's not really dying. Doesn't really have to play that defensively. Rift Herald did go down in favor of LGD, so they will be able to crack open their second turret of the game. Very nicely done for them, but no real kind of master objective on the board means that Team WE cannot respond, and that is going to be a small little win for the side of LGD.
That definitely is. Navori Quickblade, this item is just so fun on carries because it reduces the remaining cooldown by 20% every time you get a crit, and on Gangplank, a lot of the times you can get crits from barrels, you can get crits from the Q as well. However, I find the item pretty challenging because it is based off randomness, so it's not like the old blade of Spear of Shojin, where the cooldown reduction was actually very consistent. It was just based off like auto attacks after your ultimate. This time around, it's based on randomness in crits, so you have to constantly be looking at your HUD and just making sure that crit actually landed. And to make max use out of it, it really feels like this mini game in itself. Like, you have to be paying constant attention, and it's pretty fun because you do see a lot of these players just try to max out crits so they don't have to think about it.
Yeah, well, it's not random if you're at 100% crit chance, so it's kind of the goal, if you will. But while LGD gains some kind of a foothold down towards this dragon, which of course they need to do. It's a mountain soul on the horizon for Team WE. Breathe is just getting free reign with its Divine Sunderer on the top side. He's able to kind of take down some more turret plates, or sorry, not turret plates, but turret. He's able to take down more minion waves. He's just kind of really feeling strong on this Jax right now and really kind of coming into his own. And the longer this game goes on, the harder it is going to be for Colt to really contain this Jax in a side lane.
And I do like the option to go for Divine Thunder on Jax as well. The difference between Divine Thunder and the Triforce is that the Triforce has a lot of components for movement speed. You do get the extra movement speed for auto-attacking targets. While on the other hand, Thunder, you know, you just get a little bit more damage on these tanky members.
We're going to have to cut you off a little bit. Yeah, there's going to be the fight coming in as the Alistar goes down, so that's missing out of the fight. But as you can see, Breed just tanking up fully on this backside. The Lilia jumps in, gets the 4-man lilting lullaby, and then Samira just jumps straight back onto the back line and gets herself 2 nice quick kills, forcing the flash as well from the Akali, and that is going to be Dragon Soul over to Team WE. It looked like it might have been LGD favorite, but they just turn it around straight away. Beautiful play from beishang.
What an insane lilting lullaby coming in from beishang, attacking almost the entire team, and even Cult has to laugh at that one. That was just so well played. And this really is the perfect condition for Lilia. A lot of the times when we're thinking about draft, we're thinking about, hey, how do you choose between all of these AP options when you have the Nidalee, you have the Talia, and you also have the Lilia in the meta? Well, this is exactly the situation that Lilia excels at. She's very, very good against large numbers of melees because she can kite very well, and it also makes her very easy to land multiple targets with just the E. If you throw that in, it does have a cone afterwards, and it's a lot easier to hit a lot of these targets that way. Let's take a closer look on how beishang actually found all of his dream dust on these targets right here. He does throw the cone in, doesn't have one right now, finds another one.
Here.
Yep. I
I
think he does go in. Yep, he does go into Q and then
we cannot break that down as the star of the last team fight is now dead as LGD find themselves getting 2 quick kills. They're flashing in. They know this is their moment. They need to try and take away as many Baron buffs as possible, but you haven't taken away any turrets, my friend. You don't have the pressure, the chase potential, and the longer this game goes on, unfortunately, it's going to be even harder for you to pick that one up. Nice little quick kills there coming up from LGD. Would love to see how they just found those kills, but at the end of the day, there's still 3 Baron buffs on the side of Team WE, and they still have mid lane tier 1 turret.
It does look like LGD actually just overstayed after their Baron. Actually, it was I'm sorry. Actually, it was LGD venturing into the top side and using their tempo lead after the big reset from WE to set an ambush right there. So Limpid showing some signs of life, getting another kill onto the board. And with the Night Harvester, you can actually chase down a lot of these targets in team fights. So they still have some signs of life in them.
Just a little bit of life left for them there as Garvey also with the Divine Sunder able to kind of pick himself up his first item. And this is kind of where Team WE need to just kind of, you know, cross your T's and dot your I's. I say that a lot, but it is something that you just kind of have to make sure you're being very careful of, because 1, 2, 3, you know, kind of kills going over in favor of LGD. You've built up a hell of a lot of bounties, and that could be a hell of a lot of gold. Yes, you're still 7,000 gold ahead, but it's not impossible for LGD to come back into this if they're given the right opportunities.
It definitely isn't, and we see the stimulus package on Shanks already, 600 extra gold on his head, and they're going in for it.
Yep, they're gonna try and see if they can get that check. The Gangplank ultimate does pop down, not really doing a huge amount of damage though on top of Shanks as he's just able to flash himself away. The Xenoblade does not land. They will, however, be able to take him off as 900 gold into the back pocket of the Akali. It will cost them a tier 2 in the mid lane, but that is very, very good trade there for the Akali. We'll be able to build her towards her 3rd item and really start to threaten these backlines.
That was pretty damn close. You've got to admit, that one was pretty sweaty. The Navori Quick Blades coming in from Shanks, just letting him place those barrels incredibly fast. And I believe he almost got like 2 citrus charges in that 2v1 as well. So showing up big, it's just so hard to fight a Gangplank when a lot of his cooldowns just pop right back up based on RNG.
I feel like if Shanks had to come out of that with the kill on top of Limpid, it would have. That's the nail in the coffin. That's the final moment of where you're kind of going like, look, we went for it. I mean, if you don't get it, it's like, well, now they're just feeling super confident, and we have absolutely no idea if we can even kill these guys. So it can definitely be a bit of a tilter if you don't work out for you. But it did, and that is all that matters for the side of Team LGG or LGD. I always add team when I'm casting Team WE because they have team in front of them. The only damn team with team in front of their name. But again, small little advantages like that, they're the little things that you need if you're on LGD. They're the little things that will bring you back into this game, potentially into this series, if you want to even stand a chance against a Team WE that's so far ahead.
You know, at this point, I'm not holding out a lot of hope for LGD. I just want to see a great team fight for WE. They have the map perfectly set up. They're going to be goading LGD to walk into this Elder Drake area. And I just want to see the fireworks go off. I want to see the combo where you have Gangplank and his barrels going in. I want to see a Lilia, another 5-man sleep. A 4-man would do. It's okay, but 5-man's probably a little bit better. And then Jiumeng flying into the fray, getting all those kills. I want to see something truly poetic coming out from WE, and I think they have the perfect setup to give us that light show.
Well, New Year's is around the corner, so fireworks shouldn't be too far away, as vision control definitely being controlled here by Team WE, or in the favor of Team WE, as they just start to irk themselves back into the enemy side of the jungle.
Some great vocabulary there.
Yeah. Don't know, man. It's been a long morning for me, and I'm just
kidding with you, man.
You're gonna hang me out to dry like that. God damn it.
Hey, you know what? You're still the better play-by-play here. I'm just making that known. I respect you a lot, sir.
But with less than a minute to go till this Elder Drake spawns, this could be the fireworks that you're looking for from Team WE. LGD now in position. They have got themselves a couple of items now. 3 items on top of the Akali. So she's going to be the one I'm going to have my eyes on to see if she can jump on top of Jiumeng or even beishang to just... Well, as I say that, though, she's kind of a little bit in no man's land. The TP coming in as well. This could be the fight before the Elder. She's going to go into Zhonya's straight away. Colt is here. And this is a 5v5, but a little bit scrappy, a little bit all over the place. Big barrel on top of 3 people, though, means that LGD are at a deficit. But the perfect execution is almost there. Not quite. Triple kill for Shanks. Not going to be picking up the Penta today. Going to settle for a Quadra. And that is almost certainly going to be all she wrote, as a TP from the mid laner, or from the top laner to the mid lane, is going to push in that wave.
And that's the perfect send-off to this series. What great play coming in from Shanks. Definitely his best game so far in the Demacia tournament. He gets the beautiful chain CC after Alistar goes in, gets the 3-man knockup. He finds the 3-man barrel and forces all members of LGD to fight under raining cannon fire. He picks up the Quadra. Great play right there. Awesome finish. And we're just seeing so many great things from WE. We have to remember, this was the exact matchup that W lost in the playoffs of 2020 summer. It was a 3-1. WE couldn't match up in the mid lane. Teacher Ma was getting bullied out by Shia and Peanut. But this time around, WE find their sweet, sweet revenge. They showcase for the Darius. He's going to go for the set. So that top lane matchup is going to be extremely spicy.
Yeah, I feel like this will be the first real test that either side has kind of had coming into this tournament. And again, Team WE coming from the group stages now into the semi-finals. Top 4 of Demacia Cup is a fantastic move for them. But looking at like expectations for this, they're going to feel like they have a decent chance against JDG.